Hi and welcome to another episode of Chennai AI Community Podcast. Let's explore the world of AI through interesting conversations. With that note, I would like to welcome our guest for today, Thendral. She's an AI engineer. Hi Thendral, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for having me here, and thanks for the introduction. And
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm just like the life is going fantastic. Debugging the life, finding and fixing the errors.
Okay, debugging
How are
the
you
life.
doing?
My life is going good. With this podcast newly started, I'm looking forward to share valuable AI information through the audience.
Great. Okay.
Okay. So, AI engineer, what is the role of an AI engineer?
Okay. Basically, my specialization comes under I take care of the developing and deployment of the AI model. So this comes under deep learning models.
Okay.
I also focus on computer vision and edge AI devices.
So, how did you get into AI? So, I would like to start with that. What's your journey?
Okay, my personal journey actually all started with the dream of becoming an infrastructure architecture.
Okay.
But then, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it. So I was in a position I had to, take up a course which has a spectrum of choices in the future. So that is one of the main reasons why I chose mathematics and computers as my, double major program.
Okay.
In the UG undergraduation, and then I moved into, doing masters in data science.
So when you went and chose data science, so that point, I'm sure that ChatGPT hype was not too.
It was not that. Yeah, it was like a very big struggle for me as well. Like I also struggled a lot of days, trying to understand what is AI even doing? How are we getting benefited from it? What is what is the point on classifying a dog and a cat? So all these questions, a lot of questions was also there with me. But then I, strongly believe that understanding is different and realization is different. When I try to understand, I tend to forget it easily. Like everybody does that. I will forget in a week or a month or even a year.
Yeah.
But then when I, realized something, okay, this is the thing that image is working. This is how the neural networks are getting computed. So when I started realizing that thing, I really got passionate about it. I really liked working with the images and all these things. So, and that's how I'm here now.
So, I mean, a lot of people now are going with the AI hype after the ChatGPT. I'm glad that you had that passion and you wanted to be a part of this
field. It was
field.
not there. When I was in the college, it was not there at all.
Yeah.
But then like slowly picked up this version as well.
Okay. So now you are as a AI engineer.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, AI engineer or ML engineer, is there a big difference between both roles or how?
I
how
don't
it is?
see any big difference that can be talked about or discussed. There might be a slight difference. For example, ML engineer might be working with the development of the models and might be working with the fine tuning the models.
Okay.
Whereas AI engineer, they will take this model into the real time scenario and they might create their own models. So I think there is no much big difference, but they, sometimes firm also gives some fancy names.
Yeah. I think designation is up to the discretion of the organization.
Yes.
Okay. So with AI, ML and all this stuff, so what is a typical flow that we can tell audience? The typical flow is first collect the data and then we annotate it and then we train the data.
Yeah. Like it basically starts with data collection, but when but it differs from a startup, when you are working in a startup and when you're working in the big league.
Okay. So somebody working in a startup, how the data is being collected for them?
Yeah, for us, like we basically have to wear multiple hats.
Okay,
start from the data collection till the deployment. You will have to think about like whole infrastructure.
Okay, that's interesting. So the entire cycle of the project, right from the data collection to the deployment, can be handled by a AI engineer.
Yeah,
in a startup.
Because in a startup, everywhere it will be a very small team, right? So we don't have any specific team to take care of those things completely.
That
so anyways, you have to wear multiple hats. We'll just, if you are given a, basically you'll not be given a problem statement with a proper workflow, with a proper infrastructure, with the task and deadlines. There will be deadlines and tasks, but then it's not completely like a big league. You'll get a lot of time to experiment things, because when you go into data collection, you'll have to, as I told, as a computer vision project, when it comes to computer vision, you'll have to understand what kind of data you need to, you have to have the long term look into how the model is going to be like in the end product.
Okay, so this means that pretty much, let's say, generally startups are maybe having little less funds when compared to big companies, and they have a little more tight timelines. So from an AI engineer, if somebody is going and collecting data, like, are they actually involved? Let's say in a startup, do they also have to go out literally and collect data, or it comes to them?
It depends on the project. When you take a text-based project,
Okay.
it all the text and prompts will be available on the internet, so they can do
Okay.
web scraping.
Okay.
But when it comes to computer vision, there all the things will happen. Like we'll literally go to the field and collect the images.
Oh.
Let's say I'll give you a best example for this. Let's say I want to work on a project where I need to find a disease that is happening in the eye. Let's say it could be a cataract, or it could be any diabetic retinopathy. It could be anything, right?
Okay.
So I can find images on the internet, but think of that images. Will that images is going to really help the AI model to learn? Definitely not. I might get images with the spectacles on. I might get the images with the with some makeup on.
Yeah.
I don't really need that. So by the time I actually have to go to the camp or hospitals to collect what kind of data I needed.
So possibly, so you're saying that maybe in startup, the AI engineer is not anymore a desk role, but they also may need to go to the field and actually collect the data.
Yes.
Be a photographer or a videographer.
Exactly. You will have to know about the lightings, because you are the only person you will know that this AI model is going to be set here, right? So you'll have to know what that type of conditions, lighting conditions. You will have to.
So probably for startup who are applying, you probably have to say your photography skills. I'm comfortable with the camera.
Not really, but
is that a part of qualification?
Kind of.
That can give an edge.
You will learn basically. If you love
Okay.
innovation, you will start learning all these things.
That's very interesting to be involved in the entire spectrum of the development cycle, right from, and I'm sure what sounds interesting to me is like I'm just relating it to myself. Let's say I'm going, and the very same example that you gave for eye cataract related issues, when I'm seeing the patients, when I'm seeing the real things, I get emotionally connected to that, and that can translate to the quality of the product that I'm building also. It's not anymore somebody somewhere. It's the people that I have seen right in front of my eyes. I've interacted with them. Now I'm building something for them.
Yeah, like you will have that satisfaction.
Yeah, I think that's uncomparable.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. So what is like one of the misconceptions that people have is with AI and automation. So what is your thoughts on that?
Okay, the major misconception that I've seen in the people is, getting confusion between the AI and automation.
Okay.
Automation is something that can be done with the programming itself. For example, I would say this is the best example, like spam filtration.
Spam filtration,
This is very common among, common project among the beginner level data scientists.
Okay.
So this can be, the classical start of spam filtration start with if you will be given a set of words like, lottery or cashback or something like that, unnecessary emojis. If those images are in the list, then consider that as a spam mail. Otherwise, the other mail goes into the inbox.
Okay, so for example, generally in our, even in Gmail for instance, there is a filtration, the primary inbox, the social, and likewise.
Yeah, the
spam
classical
folder.
start of this is basically programming. If this is this, then go to spam. If this is not, if this list doesn't have that particular word, then go to inbox. This is a classical start where AI comes in is, the spammers are also getting intelligent, right?
Correct.
So they will use
words.
different words, the synonyms to make the spam mail look non-spam. So by the time let's have this, let's convert all the words into numerical form. Let's say lottery has number 1. Okay, what is nearby to 1? 0.9, 1.1, 1.2. So other words, it will form like a cluster. So other words which has 0.9, 1.1, 1.2 will also be considered as spam words. So the mailers or the spam mailers cannot cheat on that part.
So what I'm recalling is like maybe earlier in my career in our organizations, what used to happen, we used to get this spam mail. They used to test on us, like they used to send spam mail. And there is a button in the Outlook that we have to go and click it's spam. So when we click that, it basically is a test. The organization test if we are following as a victim.
The dog fooding.
They will see. They will see if we are going and clicking on the link or not. If we click on the link, then training is assigned. That if you report that spam, then you get a congratulations email that you have identified this.
I think AI is no more dog fooding or Silicon Valley experiment. It just like became an industrial revolution. It's no more dog fooding.
So to summarize, if spam filters, basically there are, let's say you won a lottery, by today 3 p.m. if you click this link, you will get a free ticket, anything like that. If those keywords are there, the rule based system will basically
seek
tag
for
it.
that particular word.
But AI is not looking for that keyword, but it's also looking on all the spectrum of other possible words, which again translates to the same spamming, like anything
Yeah,
which is related to
basically
that.
which is related to it. Synonyms.
Okay, got that. Makes sense. So if there is any other use case, like anybody want to make use of AI, can you think of another use case where AI can be very handy?
Okay, one more unspoken field, not unspoken, but not mostly talked field, the AI can impact is legal services, we can say. Because legal services is a field where we can find a lot of documents, you know. So for a person to look through all the documents, if suppose there is a case happening, imagine a lawyer has to, you know, go through all the past. So by the time if AI is coming in, it can look through the cases and can, you know, give an awareness of the client, for the client and lawyer as well, if the case will stand or if the case will, you know, give the awareness and the cautiousness what can be done in the next hiring.
So basically the lawyers use the verdict of previous judgments in the court. They say in this case, in this year, this judgment was given by the following high court. So they need to have a history of
they
a similar
basically
case.
have to handle multiple, like large amount of documents, right, all the time. So by the time, like that is one of the field AI can impact a lot.
That's interesting. So okay, now just I want to touch upon somebody who's in the college final years, or somebody who's wanting to get started and has no much idea or guidance. How will you guide that person to get into this field? So I know data engineering is a little bit of something that they can go easily, but if they want to become a little more equipped, what are the things they can do?
Okay, so this is for the person who wants to contribute to the AI domain and who wants to become an AI engineer or a data scientist, but who doesn't have the AI background. I would say them you're not alone. It's completely okay to struggle in the initial days, because AI is not just about using the open source models, using the pre-trained models. It's completely you know, how much you're understanding how your neural networks are you know, computationally happening in the back end, how the GPU is working, are you using it efficiently. So there are a lot more things apart from pre-trained models. So it is completely okay if you're not, you know, if you're struggling with that part. What you can do is the people who wants to become an AI engineer, they can definitely, you know, have to have the patience first to, you know, to understand, come to realize everything.
So it's not like something I join a course, especially I've like I joined a 3-day workshop, or I do a 2 weeks thing. No, that's not.
No,
that's
that
not
will
real.
cover up the theoretical idea of you, but it's not completely going to guide you how to build a neural network. And also they have to have the, you know, the time, effort, the deliberate practice on, you know, programming, and also persistence.
So what is the realistic timeline that if you were to put a chart for somebody, somebody from your college junior has reached out to you, and they're asking, hey Thendral, can you put me a chart, a 3 months plan or a 6 months plan? So what will be the month 1, month 2, month 3? So how would you structure it?
Definitely you'll have to spend a lot of time in programming and then get into AI, because only then you will make sense, like you'll understand the data structures, how the networks are, you know, everything is class over there.
So the first month will be Python?
Definitely Python, not directly to AI.
Okay, so first is basically Python.
Not only one, it might take 2 months, at least 2 months.
At least 2 months.
Yeah, because it's not only the, you know, functions, it's a lot about pandas, it's a lot about NumPy, the databases, how these libraries can be used, and there are a lot more other libraries as well. So it does take a lot of time to learn that.
So first is to learn the language, then build a small project.
If you are struggling, if you are again struggling with the project to do it on your own, definitely there are a lot of guided projects available. You can
what
take
do you
up
mean
something.
by guided project?
Guided project is something you could find it on Coursera. So Coursera, like any other learning platform, the tutor will be literally guiding throughout the project. So they'll be guiding throughout the project right from the scratch till the deployment. How can be done, how the databases can be used, visualization tools. So
maybe like if they do basics and they do 1 or 2 guided projects,
that they will get like an outline of idea, like how can we start.
And then along with this, what I would think it is required for them is to keep constantly aware what is happening in the AI world.
Oh yeah, that is really very, very essential. Not more than important, it's very essential, because every you know, for the past couple of years, like the past 2 to 4 years, AI become it became a very huge topic to talk about, become a very hottest topic to discuss on. So every single day there is new advancements coming up every single day. So it is very essential to keep ourselves updated on this. For this we can go into listen to the podcast. So
our podcast.
Yeah. So if you're watching till this, then you are in the good, right track.
Right spot. Okay.
So you can definitely go into podcast, YouTube channels, and you can listen to the CEO talks, the talks, the huge computer scientists like Andrew Ng, or you can hear to the talks from Jeffrey Hinton.
Okay.
So you can listen to such things, and also the very effective way that you can do is networking with people, networking with great people.
Yeah, that's very important.
So where you can find them is you can find them at the conferences, the workshops, AI domains. So if you have that great people surrounded by you, like-minded people, then I think it's very
it's very one of the most underrated or not much spoken is the networking, especially with the college. What I have observed is, even when I happen to visit colleges, right, the power of networking is still not known. They don't understand that, and that is exactly what you're bringing in. Let's say there's a AI workshop. It's not necessary that there's somebody from that same batch is interested in AI. It's okay, you can go by yourself. Go there, then you will meet a good number of people who want to be part of AI, and then you join their WhatsApp group, have a frequent connection.
The communities you can join. The thing is, like, even if you start with a boring conversation, it definitely, if you have the people in the in the like-minded set, the conversation will end up in a very fruitful way.
Okay, so now you're an AI engineer at a startup. So what are the benefits? What are the pros and cons of being a startup?
Okay, one of my favorite pros that I realized is, you work closely with the founders, you work closely with the CEOs, CTOs.
Okay.
I think this is one of the effective thing that you'll get in your 20s, because you learn the business, you learn the entrepreneurship, you learn how things are working at very close note. You will learn how to handle things, and very importantly, you learn the leadership. I think that is one of my favorite pro that I can say.
Okay, that's interesting. So what would be the cons?
The cons would be, the cons I would say is limited resources. You will get a lot of freedom to explore and experiment a lot. That comes under pro, but at the same time, for that you need a lot of resources, right?
Okay.
To some level, you'll need some resources that you might not get, quickly. So by the time, I think limited resources might be a con in the startup. You'll get it, but it will take time. And other thing I would say is work-life balance in the startup, because you will spend a lot of time in the project right from the basic things. So you will have to contribute a lot. So always the startup will expect they'll expect always on availability mentality, because you have spent a lot of major part in the product, right? Major part in the project. So they will, if suppose you are using large computing devices, large hardware resources, then it will be necessary for you to visit the offices often.
So, when I interact with a few people, they think that people in AI generally have this lot of flexibility. They can work from home. They need not go office. So what is your take on that?
It does have flexibility. Startups does have flexibility because startups is not something that will be a recurring job. You'll have to research a lot about it, as I told you, be infrastructure. So most of the time you're thinking about the project if you love the innovation, right? So in that way, work from home or work from home, it again depends on the company to company. If it is a well-established company, then they will have the proper office setup and work environment. The culture will be good. If it is an early stage startup, then again there is they might combine the work from homes and work from the co-working spaces, something like that.
Okay, so let's say in a startup, this AI thing definitely requires a lot of compute, right? So generally in big companies, what they normally have is they might connect to the remote desktop and they'll start working on the cloud infrastructure. So in startup, what is the thing that you observe? Like, is the infrastructure on the premises? For that, people have to go to office?
Yeah, exactly, because not everything will be so systematically, set up.
Okay.
You will have to, when you are in a place, you have to start everything. You'll definitely, if you're working on a place with, with GPU computings, or if your work involves a lot of high-end computing resources,
Okay.
then it will be very necessary to visit office often.
Okay.
So
it's not like AI people have that flexibility. Not always. It's not true for everybody. It is not applicable for everybody.
for everybody, it differs from the
Different
big leagues and the startup. For
startups,
startup,
okay.
you might have to
Probably
visit
go to the
office.
on premises.
Yeah, because
Okay, so what about let's say the shift timings or the work hours? Let's not talk about work hours, but at least the shift timings. Is it normal 9 to 5 or it
yeah,
differs?
we don't actually work on shift base because
Okay.
in a startup, not only
Okay.
AI, in any startup, people will mostly do research.
Mhm.
They will try to develop or do something, right? So it is
Okay.
not something that you can do repetitively.
Okay.
That can be, it can be done again and again. So it's not completely shift based. We will work, like, have a particular time. We will work also flexible. Sometimes you will not be able to think much on research side.
Okay.
So by the time you will take some off.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way. Okay.
The thing is, startup should give up something which is meaningful.
So it's not about clocking hours.
Definitely not shift.
Definitely not clocking hours. Definitely not very bound to the shift.
Yes.
It's about the quality of the work that is getting done.
Yes, because it needs a lot of mind power, right? Like, we need to think a lot. So
Okay.
we cannot think shift based. We can't set a time like I can think
Yeah,
from
the
9 to 5.
creativity has no time.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, any final message for the audience if they want to get into this field?
If you're a person who is trying to get into the AI domain and struggling to have the consistency in all these things, that is completely okay. It takes time. It does take time. But if you have the love for the innovation to do something, all the skill set that you need, all the things that you have to develop, will fall into the place the right time correctly.
I think the intent matters, and there's a saying, right? First step taken is halfway through. So once we take the first step and we move ahead,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And not to forget the 3 advice: learn, network, and keep yourself updated. All right, thank you, Thendral, so much
Thank you.
for taking time today and joining with us. And it was a very insightful session. We got to know about life of a engineer in a startup. Thanks again, and such a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much.